Right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, the great millstone that rule the world, that taught us His truth, and blessings to the elect. This is a very short video, but very important. You know, we have to be occupied in the spirit of prophecy, and the prophecy of the Motb and the system that is going to facilitate the Motb is coming alive, man. All right. Now we go to Revelations 13 and 16. And before I start, from Apostle Har on down, all right, here at Great Millstone, we know that the RFID chip is the Motb that is in Revelations 13 and 16. And that's what they want. That's why it's called a New World Order. They want everyone to be having these implants in them, you know. But they can't do it. What's the word? They can't do it, you know, and just sprang it on the people, because they know that people will rebel. So they have to do things slowly. It's called a totalitarian tiptoe. But what the difference is now is that this madman has got technology on his side. All right. And it's something called techno-authoritarianism. All right. Techno-authoritarianism is a form of government control that uses information technology to manipulate and surveil populations. All right. It involves state-sponsored tactics like mass surveillance, internet censorship, and disinformation campaigns to maintain power and suppress dissent. This sounds very familiar to what we're living through right now. This model often replaces traditional democratic structures with centralized authority, sometimes leveraging technology for a social credit systems and to monitor and control citizens' behavior and access to information. There you go. And that's what this devil has right now. All right. He has the technology. All those empires in the past, if they had the technology that we have today, oh my gosh, they would have cleaned house. All right. And that's what they want to do. That's why it's a New World Order. That's why it doesn't matter how many times we do videos on this subject. It's important because it's in prophecy. All right. So we're doing our jobs and we have to warn the people. All right. Now I saw this video. I'm going to play it for you. Listen carefully to what this guy's saying. All right.
Called the social credit system. If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, right now. Our devices are casting all of these records that we do not see being created, that in aggregate seem very innocent. You were at Starbucks at this time. You went to the hospital afterwards. You spent a long time at the hospital. After you left the hospital, you made a phone call. You made a phone call to your mother. You talked to her until the middle of the night. The hospital was an oncology clinic. Even if you can't see the content of these communications, the activity records, what the government calls metadata, which they argue they do not need a warrant to collect, tells the whole story. And these activity records are being created and shared and collected and intercepted constantly by companies and governments. And ultimately it means as they sell these, as they trade these, as they make their businesses on the backs of these records, what they are selling is not information. What they are selling is us. They're selling our future. They're selling our past. They are selling our history, our identity, and ultimately they are stealing our power and making our stories work for them.
perfect. And he's exactly right. That's what they're doing, man. All right? But they're doing exactly what the Heavenly Father wants them to do, to fulfill prophecy, man. All right? That's what they want to do. You know, that's what they want to do. And the Lord's putting a spirit on them, you know, to do that, because it has to be fulfilled, the prophecies in the Bible, man. All right, this is Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich or poor, free or bond. So whether you're rich, poor, you know, in prison, you know, or free outside, all right, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right, a mark in their right hand and their foreheads. Now, if you click on the word mark, it's charagma, all right, which means what? A stamp, an imprinted mark. Okay, but if you go to the root word here, click on it, it's karax. And what does karax mean? All right, it means to sharpen to a point. All right, I repeat, to sharpen to a point. All right, so if you go back, charagma says what? A stamp, an imprinted mark. All right, how you gonna get that mark imprinted? Well, they have to use a device that has what? That is sharpened to a point to pierce the skin. So clearly, all right, clearly the Motb is this. Because how do you get these RFID chips in the hands? You have to pierce it. You know, like when, you know, I know a lot about that, you know, because I've got an illness. But when you go and they take your blood, they have to prick your skin, man, with a big needle. All right, so that's clear and plain, man. All right, that's clear and plain. But there's many Israelite groups that the Lord has blinded. It's either one or two things. They're either blinded or they're sold out, man. One or the other. All right, Revelations 13 and 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right, and this beast, Neo, the EU, this is all the revival of the Roman Empire. They've even got a quango called what? Club Rome. Okay, and the Romans, when the Romans were on the scene, they had very superior weaponry, but they did not have the technology like we have now. All right, so the Lord is cranking things up. All right, with that technology. So no one will be able to buy or sell except they have this mark, this charagma, that's been sharpened to a point that's going to pierce your skin, you know, and you'll be a slave, man. All right, you'll be a slave. You know, you'll submit to their will, but the Lord is not going to allow that to happen to his elect. All right, the Lord's not going to allow that to happen to his elect. The elect is going to say no. This is Revelations 3 and 10. All right, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. All right, so when the Heavenly Father brought you into his truth and you learned the word and he went out and teach, all right, what comes with that? What comes with that is catching hell. All right, what comes with being in his truth, like it says in Sirach 2 and 1, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare yourself for what? Temptation, man. All right, so because you've kept the word of my patience, all right, you learned the word, you've gone out there, all right, and all the hell that comes with being in his truth, all right, you stay steadfast. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, now let's go down to temptation. All right, because it is going to be tentative. You ain't going to be able to buy or sell anything. And we're living in a time of convenience. You know, you can go on your app, and we all do it. Go on your app, Just Eat, Uber Eats, get something, you know, to eat. The technology we're using right now to make these videos, this, that, and the other. Or this devil's going to shut down all of that, man. And that's why the temptation is going to be great for the average person. So when they come up to us in the street and say, oh, I'm not going to take it, the majority of the people, they're going to take it, man. All right, let's go down here to temptation. All right. And the word there in the Greek is periasmos. All right, periasmos. It was temptation, which means an experiment. All right, an attempt, trial, proving. So the Heavenly Father is trying to prove his elect, you know, and he already programmed it and predestined for them to actually pass the test, which is not to take the Motb. All right. So this is an experiment. Temptation is what? An experiment, a trial, proving. Okay. Go down here. An enticement to sin. Temptation. All right. Let's go down here. This is a beautiful one. All right. Of the temptation by which the devil sought to divert Yahushua the Messiah from his divine errand. All right, you see? So Yahushua was tempted, but he did not sin. He didn't succumb to that temptation. All right, so his elect is going to be the same thing. And we're going to have to go through temptation, all right, with the Motb, because the servant is what? No greater than his master. All right? And he's our master, man. Okay? So, if Yahushua was tempted, all right, by the devil back then, how much more us now? All right? That's why it says, of the temptation by which the devil sought to divert Yahushua the Messiah from his divine errand. And that's not going to happen with the elect. All right? Adversity, affliction, trouble, sent by the Most High, and serving to test or prove one's character, faith, and holiness. You see? Sent by the Most High, because the Lord creates what? Peace, evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Now, there's one more video I want to show. I don't want to make this a long video, but have a listen to this, man. All right? And everything he's saying is true. All right? Have a listen.
Today,
they are putting in place all of these technological mechanisms for control we've never seen before. It's been the ambition of every totalitarian state from the beginning of mankind to control every aspect of behavior, of conduct, of thought, and to obliterate dissent. The mechanisms are being put in place that will make it so none of us can run and none of us can hide. Within 5 years, we're going to see 415,000 low-orbit satellites. Bill Gates says his 65,000 satellites alone will be able to look at every square inch of the planet 24 hours a day. They're putting in 5G to harvest our data and control our behavior. Digital currency that will allow them to punish us from a distance and cut off our food supply. Vaccine passports. You have a series of rights, as flawed as our government is. You can still go out and go to a bar. You can go to a sporting event. You can get on a bus or an airplane and you can travel. You have certain freedoms. You can get educated, etc. The minute they hand you that vaccine passport, every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave.
And that's perfect, because what he's saying is right. It will make you a slave. All right? That's what they're pushing at right now. Now, in the UK, and I'm going to show you, all right, in the UK here, because there's a so-called asylum seeker problem where people are coming, you know, from France on rubber boats, you know, coming over here so-called illegally. Our great Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, said that we need all a digital ID, and that's going to help stop the asylum seekers coming from France to England. I mean, if anyone believes this stuff, you got to be out of your mind, man. Okay, a digital ID, all right, on a smartphone, how's that going to stop them from getting in a rubber dinghy over there in France and coming over the channel, man? The ones of you people that actually believe this stuff, you're out of your mind, man. All right, it's all a part of the totalitarian tiptoe. All right, let's play this.
Mirror here. Come to Brighton, they said. It'll be sunny, they said. Get fish and chips, they said. Well, none of those things are happening. Why am I here? Because Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister, is here, talking about digital ID. What is digital ID? The Prime Minister announced plans to roll out digital ID for all very recently. This will mean that on a government app, you will be able to get a digital ID, a way to prove your identity. So you'll be able to use this for things like buying alcohol, if you need to prove your identity when you're renting a new place, or for when you need to do it when you're getting a new job. Now, the Prime Minister has been clear that it's not mandatory. If you still want to pay money and get physical documents, you're free to do that. Except it is mandatory in some cases.
If you do want to work, if you want to prove your right to work, then yes, you do need to.
There has been a lot of backlash. People are worried about civil liberties, about mass surveillance, about privacy with their data. So the question is digital ID a danger, or is it going to be a benefit? Sophie Huskisson from the Mirror. Hi, Prime Minister. So support for digital ID cards fell from 35% in early summer to minus 14% after you announced it. Are you still going to press ahead with this policy, even though it's clearly very unpopular with the public?
I do, because I think there's massive benefits. But I think what we need to do, and this is an opportunity, is to get over the benefits of it. Because I suspect if you did a survey, maybe you could do this. Said, do you want to cut the fat when you want to rent or buy or otherwise prove your identity, to something simple on your phone and not your passport, your driving license, your bank account, your birth certificate. I suspect lots of people say, if you've got something to cut the faff out of my life, I'll be up for it. So I think we've got to demonstrate benefits of this, why it will actually help so many people access support they're entitled to. And the best evidence of that is in pretty well every country that's got digital ID and it's not mandatory, the take-up rates are massive because it ends up being such a useful tool for people. So I think we've just got to make that positive case for it.
See, there you go. So it's happening over here as well, because what is it? It's a new world order. All right. But many people are going to take it, but the elect's not going to take it. All right. This is Revelations 11:4. But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men. All right, 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. All right, 7,000, and 7 means completion. And who's that? That's the elect. They're not going to do that, man. They're not going to bow down. Let's go down. And that's what you're basically doing. You're bowing down to your master. Just like in slavery, this devil used to brand us like horses, you know, to say this is my property. Well, that's what the Motb is. You're basically bowing to the elites and saying, listen, I have faith in you and your system rather than the Most High's. All right. Now, let's look up the word bow. All right.
Strong's G 2578. Compto.
Compto. all right, which is in Greek, which means to bend, bow the knee on the knees in honor of one in religious veneration. So that's going to be your new religion, all right. The RFID microchip is going to be your religion, all right, used of worshippers to bow oneself. So you're bowing to the will of not the Heavenly Father, but you're bowing to the new world order, all right, if you take this. But that's why we always, all right, we always talk about the elect, prophesy about the elect. And the reason why, because the elect is not going to bow down to this system, man. All right. This is Sirach 21:2. Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent. And who's that? We know who this serpent is, man. All right. For if thou comest too near it, all right, it will bite thee. The teeth thereof are as the teeth of a lion, slaying the souls of men. So we have to flee away from this guy. We have to flee away from his wicked system. Now if it comes, the digital ID, which is, more or less here, you can take those things. Oh yeah, if you don't have the digital ID, you won't be able to work this, that, and the other. But the main thing not to take is what? The Motb. That's the main thing not to take. If they say, oh yeah, I need a digital ID so you can keep working or get this benefit or that benefit, fine, you can do that. All right, as long as it's not this damn charagma, all right, an imprinted mark, all right, which has been sharpened to pierce you, man, which is what? The RFID, okay? As long as you don't take that, all right? But it's going to be tempting because he's going to lock down everything, all right? But the elect is not going to bow down, all right, to this devil. So we're going to have to do what? Flee from this guy, man. Flee from his system. And I remember watching the other day, what was it called? It's an old film, RoboCop 3. And in RoboCop 3, you see the OCP, militarized police taking people out of their homes, putting them on a truck, all right, and basically shipping them somewhere, all right. And the ones that resisted, they went into the sewers, and they were living down there in the sewers, man. All right. Now, I'm not saying we're going to live in the sewers, but that's how things are going to have to be. You're going to have to flee from this devil, all right, and his, and his system. Because if you go anywhere near him, he does what? He bites you, man. All right, and his bite is as a lion. All right, it would devour you. And the word serpent, all right, people think it just means a snake or reptile, but if you look here, it says it is also a literary term for a treacherous. This is the word snake. What the definition, right? So the definition of serpent. All right, serpent is a large snake or a snake-like mythical reptile. It is also a literary term for a treacherous or cunning person. All right, or it can refer to Satan. All right, there you go, a cunning and treacherous person. All right, treacherous. Look up that word, treacherous. Treacherous means what? Guilty of or involving betrayal or deception. And that's why Gad, the so-called Native Americans, they said the Edomites speak, the white man, the Edomites speak with a forked tongue. And what is an animal that has a forked tongue? A serpent, usually. All right. Guilty of or involving betrayal or deception. There you go, man. That's why it said what? He's a treacherous or cunning. Let's look up the word cunning. Cunning. Alright, cunning. Having or showing skill in achieving one's ends by deceit or evasion. Or evasion. See? Alright. So don't tell me that this Motb, alright, in Revelations 13 and 16 is not the RFID chip, because it is. It's clear as day. But you might not have eyes to see it. Alright? So we have to warn you of these things, man. So listen, I'm going to leave it at that. I didn't want to make it too long. Pray you're edified. Till next lesson. Shalom.